Good evening. Today's March 26th, and you're watching the Manila Times News Prime. Our top story: a ship carrying more than 700,000 barrels of Russian crude oil has reportedly arrived in the country. The sea vessel is the Sierra Leone-flagged Sara Sky. It was reportedly spotted by a journalist of the Agence France-Presse in a port just outside Manila, where the Petron refinery is located. Petron declined to confirm the arrival of the shipment. This is believed to be the first shipment of Russian oil to the Philippines in 5 years. President Marcos earlier said the government is exploring other sources of oil that are not affected by the Middle East war. The Philippines is not ruling out the possibility of a joint exploration with China in developing oil and gas resources in the West Philippine Sea. This was stated by Palace Press Officer Castro. She was reacting to China's pronouncement that it is willing to strike a deal with the Philippines if it would show sincerity. Castro said that if such a deal is good for the Philippines, the president has no objections. President Marcos earlier said a joint exploration is one matter the two countries have been discussing. However, he added that territorial disputes are getting in the way of any agreement. The labor group TUCP is calling on President Marcos to include minimum wage earners in the government's cash support program. It urged the government to immediately roll out a 5,000 peso subsidy for private sector employees. There are over 5 million minimum wage earners in the country. TUCP says those workers are also suffering from the effects of rising fuel costs. It pointed out that Congress has yet to act on the long-delayed legislated wage hike. The Development Bank of the Philippines, or DBP, is willing to temporarily waive or suspend penalties on overdue loans of transport cooperatives and small companies. This was disclosed by the LTFRB. Those loans were obtained to finance the purchase of modern jeepneys under the Public Transport Modernization Program. LTFRB Chairman Vigor Mendoza says they asked the DBP for a temporary waiver or suspension of penalties on delayed payments. They cited the financial strain caused by rising fuel prices. In response, DBP says it may grant a temporary suspension or waiver of penalties on a case-to-case basis. The Philippines' reliance on Middle East energy supplies is no longer a manageable risk, but a national security vulnerability. This was the consensus of the participants of the Manila Times Energy Forum 2026. They stressed that long-term resilience lies in developing indigenous energy sources and strengthening grid infrastructure. They also underscored the need to move beyond temporary fuel subsidies toward localized energy solutions. Napocor CEO Coco Nograles says that one of their goals is for barangays to sustain themselves via solar and wind. This, he said, would effectively protect them from the adverse effects of the global market. For more news and information, read the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and be part of our communities on Viber, Telegram, WhatsApp, and Mastodon. That's all for now on the Manila Times News Prime. Remember to stay safe, stay informed, and stay connected. I'm Michael Ang. Good night.